So we are in 1 Samuel this week. We're just trucking right along. We are in 1 Samuel. We'll start off in chapter 1. First Samuel chapter 1. Let's go with 1 through 5 here. Now there was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, and the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite. Now see, if Shirley was here, we could have had her read all that. And he had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peninnah his wife, to all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Lord had shut up her womb. So here we are in 1 Samuel chapter 1, and we are introduced to several people in these first 5 verses. Who do we have here? All right, we got Elkanah, or Elkanah, however you want to say his name. And we got Hannah. Those are Darlene's favorites. What else we got? Chuck. All right, Peninnah. Huh? There are 2 ends, one right there, one right there. Right? And then we got Eli and Hopscotch and Phinehas. Right? Oh, I spelled that wrong. A-S. Thanks. All right. Anybody else? Who else we got there? All right. Very good. And there are how many children? Do we know? No, we do not. But there are at least how many? There's at least 2, right? Because you got sons and daughters. And you got to have one of each. Right? Right, good. Including the S's. I like that. Good. So we got to have at least 4, right? So that's a house full of stuff. Yeah, no kidding. Right? Yeah, still there, exactly. So what is the focal point of this introduction here? What else do we learn here? Okay, and in verse 5, we learn that the Lord had shut up her womb. Her womb. All right, so she's got no children. Is this a happy thing for them, or is this a point of contention, or does nobody really care? It is not happy. What else? Say it again. All right, so there's contention that's going on. So Hannah is sad, right? And Peninnah mocks her. Mocks her to what extent? Like a little bit? Like, you can't have children. I can. Right? Now, what kind of mocking is going on here? Look at verse 6. Okay, there's a sore provoking. What does that mean to you that there's a provoking sore? What does that mean? Made her real unhappy. We all know, well, at least I think we all know, that when you're messing with people, there's a line where it's funny, and then it goes over that and it becomes what? Painful? It becomes what? Cruel? Mean-spirited? Right? Say it again. Bullying. Chuck? Why would she do that, Chuck? Sure, Chuck. Well, there's that, right? Right? That's the focus. That was the purpose. That was the goal. That was everything back then, right? Clint.
They're married to the same guy. Isn't there competition going on?
You tell me, Clint. Is there a competition going on?
I don't know. I would think that there would be if they're both trying to buy.
Why would you think that, Clint?
It's just human nature.
What story pops into your mind of competition between wives? Say it again. Rachel and Leah, right? We've seen these things. Sure, right? When they go up to give the sacrifice, and he hands out portions to the wives and to the children, who gets the worthy portion? Right? So there is favoritism there. So those of you who have been parents, right? You say outwardly that you love all your children equally, right? But is that true? That wasn't supposed to be answered out loud. Chuck, go ahead. Yeah.
Each of your children are different. You know, especially
Right.
if you have a lot.
Yeah.
And there's things you really like about each one.
Yeah.
Things that irritate you about some,
Oh, yeah.
but you recognize, hey, I don't have that particular, but they do, and there's strength in that too.
Yeah. And it cycles too, doesn't it?
My son Elliot is extremely stubborn, but God can use that. And it's more stubborn than I am, which is pretty bad.
Uh-oh.
But liking and enjoying is different from love.
Sure. Like is different than love, isn't it?
I like pizza. Well, some pizza I don't like. I wouldn't want pizza with anchovies on it.
We agree there, Chuck.
Sure, I think most people do.
But yet they're still offered, Chuck.
Right, and I know people will use words like, I love pizza. I don't mean that kind of love.
Right.
So I know you love all your children, as did Jacob, but he favored Joseph, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he just liked him more.
Yeah.
There's something
Different spirit, different. It doesn't tell us how these two got married. It doesn't say even who was first, like we have with Rachel and Leah. But there is a definite difference that's going on there. What else? We have verse 7. Verse 7. What else do we know about this provoking that's going on here? So we know that Hannah is one of the two wives, Peninnah being the other. One has children, one doesn't. 6 and 7, verses 6 and 7 tell us something else about how this provoking is the extent of this provoking. Peter. Uh-oh, Peter's got something else. We're going off the board. All right, go ahead, Peter.
I just happened to notice that even the same thing with Rachel and Leah, the one that was favored, God withheld children from them. So I think he had to sort of humble them, in a sense, to get them where he wanted them to be.
Okay. Humbling them. Both withheld children. Okay. We'll see in a second here, hopefully. What else we got going on? Oh, yeah, we're going back to the provoking. Sandy. Okay, she wept and she wouldn't eat. That sounds like a A typical teenager response, right? They come, they go, they slam the door in the room, they plop on their bed and bawl their eyes out, right? Now you got mascara all over the pillowcases, and it's just a mess, right? But what else is going on here? What's the extent?
It seemed the provocation was habitual. It says year to year.
Yeah, there's consistency. Consistent, right? Year after year, this is happening, it's happening. And you know it doesn't stop when they go home, right? So this is a continual provocation. What else do we learn in verse 6? There's a big, long word. Start with A. Adversary. What does that mean?
He was trying to destroy the other one.
Yeah, she's trying to destroy the other one, right? When you hear the word adversary, what verse pops in your head? Right? The devil, right? Your adversary, the devil. And he's trying to do what to you? He's trying to destroy us, right? That's the same kind of thing that's going on here. There's a different level to just mocking or teasing, right? There's a destructiveness that's trying to go on here in everything that she does, right? So that's kind of brutal there. All right, verse 9. What do we got in verse 9? This is the start of the change for Hannah, right? It's in verse 9. So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by the post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Lord, and wept sore. So what's going on here? She's bringing it to God, right? All right. What is her condition? Right? Bitterness. What does that mean to you? What does it mean she has bitterness of soul there? What does that mean to you? Angry with God? Okay.
He set up her womb. And I'm sure it was pointed out to her that she's not favored by God, as Penina is.
If you are in bitterness of soul and angry with God, are you going to pray to God?
Now there's another thing I thought about this. She's probably always talked to God. But you can talk to God, you can come to Him where you're really serious. I mean, it's like repentance.
Okay.
When you really, I agree with you. I'm a sinner.
Okay.
I hate my sin.
Okay.
I don't want to ever sin again. You know what I mean? But I mean, where you really,
But if you come to that point, are you bitter against God?
no, you're right. In that verse it's saying she came with bitterness of soul, but I think she was recognizing this. That's what Peter said earlier. I think she had some kind of an issue that was a block between her and God.
Okay.
And God just humbled her.
So you think, like Peter said, that there's an issue, a humbling that's needed. Didn't we write that on the board?
I think bitterness of soul is her issue, but you're right, Eric. I mean, it says she had that when she was crying out to him. She's probably been crying out to him all along, but I think this is different.
Okay. All right, let's hang on to these things, right? We have the possibility of a humbling that's being needed. We have the possibility of being angry with God, right? What else? What is another option that's here? Rick?
I know, like in some cases, if you don't like something about yourself, you get, like it says here, bitter in your soul, or like you're more or less like.
So she's bitter at herself for being a childbearing failure?
She's mad at herself because she can't be like the other one.
All right, what else? Specifically, say it again? Right. Angry with Peninnah there. Right? Because in most cases, I would say, that we are not particularly amicable, joyful towards our persecutors. Right? We, especially as it wears on over time, and there's an adversarial context to it. Even if Peninnah was the only, only person involved, like if it was a one-sided aggression, Hannah's just minding her own business, like, what did I do? I didn't do anything, right? But as that wears on over time, is Hannah going to enjoy her presence? No, right? So there's going to be a bitterness that develops there as well, okay? So we have the provoking the bitterness of soul. So what did she do? What did Hannah do? Pray to the Lord, right? What did she not do? Well, you said she didn't go sulking around. Well, she wept and didn't eat, so kind of she did. Peter. Right? She didn't poison her adversary, right? She didn't take it into her own hands. What else? She did make a decision and go to God. You're right there. Why? Why did she go to God? Who are her options? Her options are herself. She could have poisoned Peninnah herself and been done with the whole mess. Right? What's another option? Randy. All right. I'm thinking that continues, but going on. Didn't talk to her husband about it.
He quizzed her on it, but she didn't say anything to him over it.
Why not? Where are the women at? Why not?
He should know.
Oh. Yeah. He should know, right? Wife. I'm sorry, what? Say it again?
She's probably already talked to him about the situation. Why won't you do something? Why won't you stop her from doing this? You know, and he's probably like, I'm done.
Okay, that is an option. It's an interesting option, right? If we think about it, if she had talked to him already, has any resolution come to pass? Right? Thus, being an interesting word that we've put up there then is that his influence, his control, his whatever over this other woman has been ineffective. Okay? What would have happened if she had tried to take things into her own hands? What if she had poisoned him, Peter? What would have happened, you think? Probably suspicious, right? Think about the age of those kids. We don't know what the age of those kids was, right? What if they were older? Like with Rachel and Leah, right? And they were resentful. Would they not take matters into their own hands? Right? Chuck? She would have sinned against God. Oh yeah, there's the whole against the law thing, but... Right? Okay, so what does that tell us? What does that tell us? Peter.
I'm thinking that, because of the bitterness and stuff she got, if she was a godly woman the way she was walking with God, this has been allowed of God to be in her life. I think she's probably upset with herself a little bit that she's even being pushed to the point of being bitter. sort of disappointed herself in that if I can't handle it, who can I go to but God? My husband can't deal with the situation. So,
Okay. She can't deal with the situation. Her husband can't deal with the situation. Who's the only one that's left? God is. Okay, so what does that tell us about us? How does that relate to us? Right? Think about what Chuck said. What did Chuck say? No, the last thing. It was really good, too. No, anywho. What does that tell us about us? Yes, yes. So, we as Christians, not doing the same things our adversaries do, right? Think about Christ and the Pharisees, right? Think about the world and the world we live in and us. How are we supposed to react to things? Are we supposed to act the same way the world reacts to things? No, we're not supposed to, but yet we do a lot of times, right? We're supposed to have an answer to everyone who asks us a reason of our hope, right? But if nobody ever sees our hope, if nobody ever sees that we're different and respond different, what are they going to ask us about? Right? Because we're just the same as them. Okay? So what does this whole situation put yourself in here and make it a generic situation of whatever kind of persecution you want? Can you take care of it yourself? No. Not and have it end well. Right? Can you trust man to solve the problem? No, because he's ineffective. Right? Right, and that might not end so well either. So who's the only one we can trust? Why is he the last one we go to? Because we're stupid, right? Okay, now look, she goes to the Lord, right, in 9 through 11. She vowed a vow, and this is how we get Samuel, right? If thou wilt give unto thine handmaid a man-child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. And it came to pass as she continued praying before the Lord that Eli marked her mouth. And now we've got Eli entering the picture, right? He's there. So now Hannah spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore, Eli, the priest, in church, thought she was drunken. That's just what you want, right? As they say, add insult to injury, right? You're at the breaking point. I come to church. I'm sitting here. I'm praying to God. I'm letting God have it all, and pastor thinks I'm drunk. Oh, wow. How's Hannah feeling now? Right? How's Hannah feeling now? Go ahead, Peter.
I don't take credit for someone I read years ago, so many years, probably 30, 40 years ago. I don't recall which guy, but a man of God. When a book I was reading, when he dealt with this situation, I thought, excellent point he brought out. When God got what he wanted, Hannah got what she wanted. God wanted a prophet because Israel was in trouble.
Yeah.
Got to the point where she says, you give me a son who's yours.
Mm-hmm.
I think God was working unknown to her to even go that way. Because God's purpose will be accomplished.
Okay, so then we have to go back to you. Does Hannah need humbling?
She had to be brought to the point.
She did have to be brought to the point, but did Hannah herself need humbling? Somebody else said yes? Yes? Who else? 2 guesses. Oh, Clint's up there now. All right, very good. Okay, so if we finish up with, Eli gets in the way from 12 to 17 here. And then in 17, Eli's like, oh, my bad, go in peace, sorry. Right? What happens in verse 18 for Hannah? Okay, so after this, her countenance changed. Why? Why? She gave it to God, right? What else? No, she didn't.
Well, it says here in the verse before that Eli tells her that, go in peace, God of Israel, will grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked him. So she's leaving knowing that God's going to answer her prayer.
Okay, well, I question Eli there. So yes, Eli said the words. It's Eli. You know? Eli just called her drunk. So does Eli really know anything about anything? You know? I mean, God does use those types of things, though. Words that people will say to get you a message like that. So it could be. But
But he told her that, so she's leaving with that in her mind, that because he's the priest, so she might be leaving thinking God's going to answer my request.
okay.
She's got that peace of heart and mind. She's got hope now that maybe God's going to answer her prayer.
I got 2 itching people over there. Do you think that Hannah would have left the same way had Eli not even been there?
Yeah, probably, because she's talking to God. I don't think personal experience, when you're downtrodden about something, you take it to God, he just takes that burden off you.
So then, in your opinion, does Eli being there even matter? Peter.
Even the high priest, because of his position, prophesied Jesus would die for the nation. He was an ungodly man.
Sure, yeah.
He had that position, so the Spirit of God spoke through him. Eli, I think, weak in a lot of ways, but still, I believe, a man of God. And I think the Spirit spoke to him, and I think Hannah sensed that confirmation.
Okay. Chuck?
God, he didn't declare that God will grant your petition. It was more like God's speed. You know, it's more like well wish.
Verse 17. Then Eli answered and said, go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him.
It's like saying, may God grant you, not saying God will.
Carry on. Be ye warmed and filled.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
But he is the high priest.
He's not the high priest. He's a
Like
priest.
high priest?
He's a priest. He's not a high priest. It never calls him the high priest.
I've always thought in my mind for 50 years that he's the high priest.
I understand that, but it never calls him that.
Yeah. And like Peter said, I believe he's a man of God. He didn't deal with his sons correctly.
Which leads to an interesting question then, and I don't want to get down that rabbit trail, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, is at what point does God take his hand off the man of God to where that message is no longer there? Because God judges Eli, and his effectiveness is terrible. So, but we'll leave that for another day. Rick.
Well, Hannah, she was praying to the Lord, and she must have been fervently praying because
Oh, yeah.
he couldn't hear her voice, and he thought that she was drunk. And it reminds me of the Pharisees when they saw in the New Testament, when they saw the disciples, they were filled with the Spirit, and they thought they were
They're
drunk
filled with new wine, yeah.
So I think she was really seeking the Lord. No matter what Eli said, it wouldn't have made a difference. But I think he confirmed it, what she was actually seeking.
Okay. Either way, what's the result? Either way, what's the result? 18. 18 and 19. She's not sad anymore. She's not sad. Her countenance has changed. She's eating. What else happens? What happens in 19? She worships. Right? True. But she worshipped. Why? Yeah. So, no, but there's a difference.
It's what I said earlier. She probably has always been bringing it to God, but she really brought it to God. And she had a vow and all that.
The thing that I think changed there is not only, like you said, she may have always been talking with God, but what she did here is she left it with God. She surrendered it. She's like, look, if you'll give me this, he's yours. Other than that, look, I know I can't do anything. I know my husband is ineffective. I know I can't beat Penina on my own. You're the only way this is going to get fixed. And not only did she pray that, but she left it there. All right, God, it's on you now. I'm moving on with my life. I'm going to go eat now. I'm not going to be sad about this anymore. Look, you can wipe her out. You can wipe the family out, or do whatever you want to do. Give me a kid, and then you'll have your prophet that you wanted, like Peter said. You know, whatever you want to do, I don't care. Just, it's on you now. I'm out. Goodbye. Right? And she left that there. And what did she get from that? Yeah.
And I want to point out that just like Shadrach, Meshach, but if not,
Right?
she was worshiping God. If
Yeah.
He had not, he remembered her, but if he hadn't given her a child, she would continue
Yep.
meeting with God.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do
Because the changing of the countenance, the eating, and the worshiping all happened before the child was even given. She did not have an answer yet. She was not even necessarily guaranteed an answer. Eli never told her, yep, God's going to do that. Right? She did not know what the answer was. But what did she have because she let God have it? Starts with a P. Peace. Right? So what does that tell us about our prayer lives?
Truly give things over to God. Truly let go and let him have it. Then you can have the peace.
Right.
If you don't have peace, it tells you you're not really letting go.
Right. You're not really letting go. Right. Can you pray to God, hang on to the problem, and still try and fix it yourself? You'll never be content. God's just going to go, it's like a parent dealing with a little child who thinks they know better. And it's like, okay, when you're done struggling with that and you're ready for me to help you, let me know. You know, I'll be here when you're ready. Just, you let me know. And that's what's happened here. And now she walks away with that peace. The things that we struggle with, though, why is that? What are we not doing that Hannah did? Right? And then leaving it there. Right? The idea behind casting is to throw it away from you. It's not a gentle handing off. It's not a, here, let me show you, and I'll keep it. No, it's a chucking it away from you. You want nothing else to do with it. It's like, I don't know, when you're at the lake, how many of you have ever thrown rocks in the water before? Everybody does that. It's amazing, isn't it? Why? I don't know what we got against rocks, but no, you take the rock and you just drop it right there. Dunk. No, you chuck the thing, right? It's always, how far can I get it? Right? That's what this is. She let that all out. She let God have it all. And she left it there. So if you're struggling with something, even though you're praying about something, but you still don't have that peace, you haven't left it with God. Chuck. Sure.
The word evil means something a little different than we might make it happen.
Yeah.
But it's like we've been assured that we're going to have thorns and thistles.
Yep.
We're not any different than anybody else, saved and unsaved.
Nope. Yep.
You're going to have trouble in your life, And are you going to receive it from God with the right, like you're totally reliant on Him anyway?
Yeah.
Especially in the things that we can do ourselves.
We think we can do ourselves, yeah?
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
If you've been given lots of gifts, you'll probably have some kind of pride of life that you can't even get rid of.
Yeah.
Unless God makes you come to yourself.
Yeah. What's interesting then, as we move on with this story, right, is, okay, does God answer her prayer? Yeah, we should know that because there's a book of 1 Samuel that we're looking at, right? So she does have a child. And then what does she do? She follows through on that promise, right? Now think about this. You're Hannah. You have no children. You gave this promise. You now have a son. And he's adorable, right? And, all right, you hang on to him till he's weaned. And then you got to give him up. Think about the time this is. What time is this?
Probably 4 years old or so.
Think about the time that they are living in.
She doesn't have any other children.
What time are they living in? The time of the judges, right? Who is Eli? Eli is a judge, all right? So now as we finished up the book of Judges, how did that end? Every man did that which was right in his own eyes, right? And she's bringing her son, Tiny Tot there, to Eli. What do you know about Eli? Did not do well with his own sons. How do we know he didn't do well with his own sons? Well, they were wicked and he got judged for it, but even right in a little bit here, there's a prophet that came to, where'd that go? There was a prophet that came to Eli and said, dude, your house is messed up. Where'd that go? It's in chapter 2. Yeah, somewhere in there. Right, and it starts to explain, now the sons of Eli were the sons of Belial, and they knew not the Lord. So you have priests who are serving the Lord, who have no idea what they're doing there.
Verse 27.
Yeah, there it is. Verse 27, and there came a man of God unto Eli, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? And I did choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon mine altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me. And did I give unto the house of thy father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice, and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honorest thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel my people. Wherefore the Lord God of Israel saith, I said indeed that thy house and the house of thy father should walk before me forever. But now the Lord saith, Be it far from me. For them that honor me I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. And behold, the days come that I will cut off thine arm and the arm of thy father's house, that there shall not be an old man in thine house. And thou shalt see an enemy in my habitation, in all the wealth which God shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house forever. And it goes on from there. And, both the sons shall die in one day, and this is going to be a sign unto you, right? So, in this whole process, Hannah, Samuel, Eli, Hophni, Phinehas, wicked, and Eli putting his sons above God, right? So much so that the people of Israel abhorred the sacrifice of the Lord, right? So much so that people hated coming to the house of God. That's how bad they were, right? Laying with the women of the church or the congregation, right? That's what you're dealing with. In the time of Judges, Eli's the judge, and this is what's going on in his own house, in the church. Here you go, my boy. Go stay with him. Wow. That is faith, right? That is faith. That is sticking to that promise. And what's even funnier, in my opinion, is Eli took him. I'd be like, what am I going to do with that? I don't want him. Do you know how old I am? How am I going to take care of him? Chuck, you had your hand up.
When she came with Samuel, she reminded him of who she was.
Yeah.
Remember me? I'm the woman that was, yeah.
I'd be like, I don't know.
And she explained the promise to God and that the child was lent to God.
Yeah.
And I think later, Eli commented on him being lent to God. So I think Eli knew that this was of God. He feared God after a fashion. Just like any carnal Christian, right? You fear God, but you're not necessarily doing everything you should. And it's like when Samuel had the word from God, and Eli required that he tell him what God told him, or the same happened to him, right?
Right, yeah.
And he basically said that God should do what seemeth right to him.
Yeah, we didn't get into that, whether that's a noble or weak thing that he did there. But knowing what Eli knows about the judgment that's coming on his house, and you see this little guy come up to you now, where do you think that's going to come from? Right? The story of Saul and Jonathan, David, right there, sitting at his table. Think about that. Right? And with that, we got to close. And that concludes our epic adventure through God's Word today, ladies and gentlemen. You are dismissed.